Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
Nathan Messer, welcome to Footwork.
Mr. Sean, how are you, man?
I'm good. I'm very, very excited for our listeners to hear this one. We usually start off by asking the make your own path question. But First, I want to start off with our first conversation that we ever had.
Right.
It was my first day with the Hearts. I wasn't training, I was only able to watch. And after training, the first thing you said to me was, "What's your last name, Sean?"
Yeah.
And I go, "Vinberg." And you're like, "Man, I've been listening to your podcast since the beginning."
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's a true Footwork fan. So please tell me, how'd you find Footwork? What did you think when you first saw me? Did you know that it was me?
Yeah. This is so funny. Yeah, man. Like when I first saw you, I didn't connect the dots straight away. Well, first of all, so we as a team, like the weekend before you came, we kind of went out for a beer with like a few of the guys, and James was there. And James, our director of operations, and he was like telling us that we have this German-American center back called Sean coming. And I was like, okay, I didn't think anything of it. And and then when I saw you, I didn't quite connect the dots straight away, but I heard your voice, and that's when I was like, "What? Wait, I recognize that voice. I don't know what's going on, but I recognize the voice."
That's so funny you say that.
And then if I was training while at training, like I connected the dots somehow. I was like, "That's Sean Vinberg from Footwork." So I double checked to ask if it was really you, and yeah, it was. And yeah, man, I started listening to your podcast because, well, one, I'm an avid podcast listener. Like I've always listened to podcasts, but like as like a 14, 15-year-old, I wasn't that young when I started listening to your podcast, but as a 14, 15-year-old, like in high school, I was looking for a lot of guidance on like how to get to the next level. Like I had that ambition at that age. Really, that's when it came through. Kind of like I really wanted to find a way to go pro, and I had no kind of direct pathway. I didn't really see necessarily how I was going to get there. So I kind of dove deep into like guys who kind of who had unconventional pathways. So like I was an early subscriber to like, I don't know if you know him, but like Matt Sheldon, for example, become elite. And then, and like as the years grew by, I started watching his YouTube channel. And I kind of was always trying to find ways to listen to different things and avenues. And then I have a German passport, which is the other thing. I started to really think about going over to Germany because he had gone over to Germany playing 6th tier.
Yep.
And as a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, whenever he was there, the idea of making money in the 6th tier of German soccer was like outrageous to me. I was like, oh, wow, like I could really play in the 6th tier. Like I don't have to be this big time pro,
right.
You know? So that was kind of like the initial thing. And then once I got into, my goal was always to get into college. But then after that, I was never sold on myself getting drafted necessarily. Like that was never it was always obviously a dream, but it was more of a dream than a goal of mine. It was more like, let me find avenues that I can actually like make this happen. And so I kind of found your podcast somehow, some way. And yeah, I've just been listening since because the conversation has just been so interesting. And yeah, here I am now, crazy.
Yeah. It's funny, so first off, there's a lot to unpack there. Number one, you said my voice. So this off season, I did a few trials, and another trialist at one of these trials, we're warming up pregame.
Yeah.
And someone's explaining how we're playing, how the coach just told us to play, and I'm explaining to someone something.
Right.
And the right back, he goes, "Hey, what's your name?" And I go, "Sean." He's like, "No, what's your, Sean Vinberg?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, you do Footwork podcast? He's like, yeah. He's like, "I recognize your voice."
Yeah.
He's like, "I've been listening for years."
Yeah.
And this is like for Dylan and I, we've gone for so long, right? But most of our listeners are from the U.S.
Yeah.
But now that we've come back to the U.S., this is kind of a cool reoccurring theme that players just like us, like yourself,
Right.
like this kid Alex, you're looking for answers, basically, that don't really exist.
Yeah.
And we're trying to help by providing the stuff that we learned, why we started the podcast. And of course, not everyone's American that we're interviewing. Most of them are not, actually.
Right.
But it's giving information, and it's so cool to see that there's physical people that actually listen, other than our 4 friends and family members
Right.
that listen to the podcast.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, there's so many gray areas. I mean, for me, it was really the parts that interested me the most about your journeys was the idea that you guys were Division III soccer players, coming out of college, trying to find a pathway for yourselves, and knowing that process, the process from going to college to the first professional contract is one of the hardest ones you can do, right?
Yeah.
So, not just listening to you both, but like listening to every single player you've had on. And personally for me at that time, the guys that specifically went from college to the pro, like really listening to all their stories and kind of trying to just get something from it, something that I could apply from that, And then obviously from there, it grew to obviously after I kind of signed professionally, it grew to, okay, what can I now take from other professionals? What can I take from guys who are like more experienced from me? And honestly, just listen to people's journey is honestly just fun. It's like such an interesting listen. Like some of the stories you've had, like just absolutely incredible. Like you couldn't write better scripts than some of the stories you've had on.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
But so we're gonna bring it back to the make your own path question, because we kind of seek out, I would say, individuals, mostly footballers, that have a really unique path.
Yeah.
Because we find, as you've heard, they come from all parts of the world, male or female, and such a unique path. But when you get to the end of the conversation, or throughout the conversation, you realize there's so many similarities.
Right.
So, making your own path, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about this question because I knew it was
coming.
I knew it was coming, but it's one I still don't feel like I have an interesting, the answer I want to have necessarily, but it's like, I'm a 23-year-old footballer that's, aspiring to get to as high level as I can. But deeper than that, it's like, I think that's more, like, I take that into my everyday life, which is, I'm a flawed individual that's just trying to, make the most out of each and every moment. And through that, having the faith that, I will come out having squeezed out like all the potential I have, and I honestly, I think that's what that is like, like kind of my motto. It's like not trying to get lost too much into what's ahead of me, what the future is, but like really applying myself in the moment, and hope and really having the faith that that kind of application to the moment will pan out in the future. So yeah, I'd say that.
Okay, so staying present, kind of getting out every possible potential that you have inside of you.
Yes.
And just wherever it takes you, it will take you. But
exactly.
Getting as much, I love that, and I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, Nate is grounding currently. He took his shoes off, so I also followed him. I'm not going to show you my feet. You don't want to see that. But I felt it was crucial because, so Nate, you're 23, right?
Right.
He's 7 years younger than me, but actually I would say I look up to him because he is so locked in. I would say Jay Keegan is also very locked in, but I love the fact how locked in you are when it comes to every small little detail. And that's something that I've always tried to do because I feel the same way. Okay, I was this D3 soccer player. I felt I had ability, but I'm not someone who's going to go right to the Bundesliga.
Right.
I have to kind of carve my own path by grinding out the little things and getting every ounce I can out of what I have, my ability I have, and work ethic and leadership, and taking care of things off the field will get me to my maximum potential. Where that is, I don't know.
Right.
But I feel like over the past 9 years, I've done that, and I can really see that in you, which is why I really relate to you, because you're already probably ahead of where I am currently. but I like to see, like, okay, now I see you're doing things, like, oh, I want to add that to my regimen, because you're squeezing out, you know, that towel to get every piece of ability and possibility that you have to get to the highest possible place. Where that is, we'll find out, right, in the future. But for now, you're just getting everything you can out of the current moment.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you see guys who don't do that, you know, like, or who don't, not even necessarily don't do that, because I think it's, you know, it's, for me, the way I am is kind of, it has to be like, you know, it's just the way, like, I'm kind of wired, I guess. Like, not everybody's gonna be wired like that. It won't work for everyone. I just mean kind of the realization. I think it's very big to humble yourself, and the realization that at our level, you know, we do not have the same amount of talent as, you know, your Vinicius, your Mbappes, and that, you know, if you want to really push the envelope, if you want to really push the kind of how far you can get, like, you're gonna have to go to measures that maybe even those guys aren't doing. And I mean, it's just, like, I just think, like, an application to the work will, in the end, like, you will reap the rewards some way, somehow. And I even, like, for me, it's bigger than football, right? Like, I'm sure we'll get into this, but, like, last year, I wasn't playing nearly as much as I wanted to. I was at Rhode Island in USL Championship. And it made me really assess where I was at. And because before that, it was always football. And to a degree, it still is. But, you know, I kind of came to a realization that, like, I would do this even if there wasn't the football, you know? Like, whatever I would apply myself to next will be the same, like, I will treat it the same way. And I think I have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's...
Yeah, I think it's a way of like living.
Exactly.
Is going 1,000% in. This is how I live my life. I would say I'm a curious person, and when I get curious about something, I'm 1,000% in. And what I find too is, one, that's how you get better faster, right? Because you're totally focused on whatever you're doing. But also, you'll find out if you like it or not.
Yeah.
If you're like dipping your toe in the water, you don't really know if you want to swim or not.
Yes.
You might not know. But if you just jump in and realize, okay, I enjoy this, or no, not my thing, I'm out. Let's do something else.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly, we're doing this with soccer, but it also translates to the rest of our life. We're not going to play for the next 70 years, right? We'll play for I have maybe 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
You could have another 10, 15 years, but then after that, what are you going to do?
Right.
And I think, for me, you've heard it, I've said it on the podcast before, I find professional sports, in our case, professional football, is life at 1,000x speed.
Oh my, I say that all the time.
So everything we're doing now for this current career translates to the next phase, the second mountain of our life, because the highs and lows, the amount of work you have to put in, the amount of time you're putting in for someone that is not just going to training and leaving, right? You're spending basically all day long thinking about, okay, what am I doing now that's going to prepare me for tomorrow? Yeah. And I've changed, of course, over the years, how much I'm focusing on that, and there's a point of diminishing returns, I think, with that. Yeah. But it's, you know, I've been doing that since I'm 15, 16. Yeah. Okay, when I'm drinking this, when I'm eating this, how is this going to affect my practice? How is this going to affect my game? And if you can take that mentality and put it to anything else in business, which I find this year I'm really starting to do, it's easy. Right. Because we've been doing it for so long. Yeah. And I think it just translates directly. And there's some correlation that I've been wanting to put into, I don't know, like a monologue or something that kind of explains that whole thing. Right.
It's crazy the lessons you learn from this game. Like, it's truly like a mirror of life. Right. Like, even the 90 minutes, I find the 90 minutes in a game are also a mirror of life. Like, it's like, you know, like it's just...
Explain that.
Well, I think there are so many things in a game that you cannot control. If you think, so I could take this in whatever, like in so many directions, but let me just, for example, the pregame, right? Like the pregame, if you think about the game too much, the event, the fans, everything, you're going to get overwhelmed, right? Like I feel like a lot of today's, like people today have this anxiety, like this incredible anxiety And I think because they get overwhelmed with the idea of the future, right? Like they don't know what the next 40 years is going to look like. And when I think about it, like I myself also am overwhelmed when I think about that, you know? But like soccer has taught me, look, like I can't even think about the next 15 minutes. You know, I have to think about what's like literally right in front of me, right? Or else it's gonna pass me by, right? And like in that sense, like that's one of the ways I think, you know, like you have to staying grounded in the exact moment you're in is way bigger than is way more important than getting lost in the future. Like you are not going to solve today's problems with you thinking about the future. Like I or at least I don't think. And another way, at least one way I think the game, like the 90 minutes mirrors life, is that like you're gonna get punched in the mouth so many times in a game, but it's all about like the next play, right? Like you can't control what just happened. Like you literally have to think about what's going on next, because the worst thing that you can do is literally like let the last play affect your next play, right? And that's life, right? Like the worst thing you can do in life is let like your previous mistake affect like your next action, right? So I just think in so many ways, I'm so grateful that I've learned that, like I'm learning these lessons right now. And I think it's such a, you know, like I always wondered to myself before, like, why is it that like businesses maybe seek out like student athletes or like ex-athletes, and I'm kind of really like starting to understand why, you know. And it's kind of like the lessons that you learn in your like domestic sports. First of all, they're all the same, right? Like I heard someone say this, and it's very, I find this very true. The similarities between top athletes in different sports is closer than the similarities between like a low-level athlete and a top athlete in that same sport. So you see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that the lessons that you learn from this game are just, they're so important to like just setting you up for the rest of your life. And it's just like, honestly, it's like just such gratefulness that I get to experience that, you know, because even my parents tell me that, you know, like they see the, like the volatility, the violence of the sport,
Yeah.
as like such a, like almost a more violent, like more direct way of life, but that is how life is gonna like that is how life is, you know?
Yeah. That's exactly what I mean. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. So exactly in 90 minutes, you could experience, right? So you're making how many decisions in 90 minutes?
Oh, so many.
Right? How many mistakes you make, either that's positioning or with the ball, how many recoveries you make from those mistakes. That could take 5 years of starting a business,
right,
to experience all that.
Right.
Because you also have to encourage 10 other teammates on the field.
Right.
Deal with the other personalities, the other team. Don't let them change your emotion at all.
Right.
Right? You're just straight line.
Recover for other people's mistakes.
Recover for other people's mistake and kind of pick up the work when, okay, Nate needs help right now.
Right.
Right? I need to put in a little extra effort to make sure to get him back to speed while still doing my job.
Yeah.
But I need to carry him for a little bit because we're a team.
Yeah.
And if you're a business, sometimes you just have to take over. I think the idea of extreme ownership, same idea.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can either blame your teammates, right, for what they do, or I can take ownership and say, no, how could I have helped him, put him in a better situation so that he's successful?
Right.
And I think in a business, it's the same idea. How can I put my employees, my business partner, in a better position to make sure that they're successful? Because their success is a reflection of me and my success. And I need them to be successful. On a field, you need your teammates to be successful.
Right.
It's not an individual sport. You need the 10 players on the field, and you need the guys on the bench, and the coach, and the fans in this case. They all play a part.
Right.
And coming back to living in the moment, in the present, it's like if you're thinking about the past or a future, what could go wrong in the future, you will probably make a mistake in the present.
Yes.
What does Bobby say? He says if you have a foot in the future, a foot in the past, you're going to piss on the moment.
Piss on the moment, which is a great line.
Which is is such a good analogy. It's like, if just focus on what you have at task, what's currently in the moment, what you need to do, do that well, and then the next one, and the
Yeah.
next one, and the next one. And when things don't go wrong, you quickly calculate, okay, what did I do wrong there? How can I fix it?
Yeah.
And then you move on to the next action.
Yeah.
And all the time in team sport, in 90 minutes, there's 1,000 things happening at once. You're making hundreds of decisions every
Yeah.
minute. And you also have to make sure that you're pushing your teammates in the right way, having a good reaction if someone does make a mistake. You can have two reactions, negative or positive,
Yeah.
or say nothing. Would you
Yeah.
agree that having a positive reaction to a teammate will benefit the team as a whole?
Oh, I mean, 100%.
Right,
Yeah.
for 90 minutes, my philosophy is you need to do anything you can to get
Right.
3 points.
Right.
Would anyone say having negative emotions and beating down your teammates
yeah.
is going to help you win? No.
Never.
After the game, you can have these discussions. But during the game, you have to figure out a way, how can we win based on the current situation, how the other team's playing, who's maybe not having a great day, but they can still do a few things right.
Right.
Put them in a position to show their strengths and hide their weaknesses.
Right.
And it's all this moving puzzle that you have to deal with. And exactly like you said, that's like life at 1,000x speed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It's, yeah. Like if you think like, sometimes I think to myself like top level football. If like if those players really get stuck in the vastness of it, like the vastness of playing in front of 40,000, the vastness in playing in front of 60,000, they get so overwhelmed by it, you know. And it's like I have a good friend of mine. You're gonna need to get him on because him and I like go back and forth. He helps me a lot with my. It's like almost like a therapy session every time I talk to him. But we have this discussion like how many of us top level footballers are actually more talented, or are they just simply able to get into that flow state, to get into that state where they're just fully focused more often than the average footballer or most footballers, you know? Like a guy like Bukayo Saka. Like he has the ability to get the ball and do what he would do at training every single time in a game. That's just what makes him different, right? But how many players do we know that like are elite at practice and then just can't replicate in a game? Like I just think, I don't know. I have this thought in my head, like how many of those guys, like how many, like is Bukayo Saka really that much more talented than the average Premier League winger? You know what I mean? Or is it a mentality aspect where, you know, he can get himself to just be right there, present in the moment, present into what he has to do, and that's what makes him more successful than the other footballers, you know?
He's a great example because look, he misses that huge penalty.
Right.
Gets shit from all the fans.
Yeah.
But then just goes on and continues to take penalties and score them and produce because he's focused in the moment. He's not worrying about the past. That penalty miss could destroy a player's career and they quit. They just never get to the level again.
Right.
But we spoke with Mile Corbos the last episode actually about it seems like a lot of these successful players just don't think.
Yes.
They just play.
Yeah.
They take the
That is
risk
the other aspect.
because it's not a risk because, I know I can pull this off.
Right.
I'm capable of this. I'm not thinking about if I do this, I'm going to make a mistake and then this is going to happen. And you're now focusing on the future. Whereas no, I'm going to do this because it's going to work.
Yeah.
And with Arminia Bielefeld's run, that's like the team philosophy. It's like, let's just take the risk because we have nothing to lose. But then you ask yourselves, okay, why are we not doing this every game?
Right.
Because why, against a better opponent, we just play free, but against an opponent our level or maybe worse, we're scared of making mistakes.
Right.
Because there's apparently something to lose, but really there isn't. It's a game of soccer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the stakes aren't that high.
Yes.
And if you can, that's kind of changed with me, is like, it's just a game.
Right.
That's the most fun part of this sport, is getting to play a game. And if you get a lot of fans of the game, even better.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, I used to hype myself up so much for the game, but then I realized, wait, this is doing more harm than good.
Right.
I'm excited to play. It's not nerves, I'm excited because this is why I train and play.
Right.
To play 38 games a year, 40 games a year. But then just go out there and enjoy it. Like have fun, do things that you believe is the right way to play, help your teammates, put them in a great position to be successful. And that's really all there is to it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man.
But I want to come back, so we're going to rewind.
Right.
Before we get even deeper, tell our listeners, who are you, where were you, and where are you going?
Who am I? So I'm Nathan Messer, 23 years old, from Europe. I have to explain this part because it's a big part of my journey. It's born in London and lived there for 10 years. actually 12. My mom is French, my dad's German, and I moved to the U.S. when I was 12, the Washington, D.C. area. Went through high school there. Yeah, I've just been in the U.S. ever since. Now a professional footballer at the Portland Hearts of Pine with Sean in USL 1. Where was I? I was, where, how should I answer this?
This is up to you.
It's a great question.
You've listened, there's many different answers.
Yeah, I know. Let me,
You can ponder it.
yeah. I guess I'll just go with the journey right now. I was in USL Championship last year. I was a college athlete before that. And I've been lucky enough to play also over in Europe, which is what I think makes a lot of my career interesting. It's kind of the constant switching between Europe and the US, which has definitely made me the person I am today. And where I'm going, I don't know, man. Like it's a great question. Like I said, I think the best way for me to answer that question is to just squeeze out everything I have right now, and that I'm sure it will pan out in the future. The goal, I'll tell you this, the goal is to squeeze out everything I can out of soccer and life, Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's to be honest, like where I'm going is one of those questions where some people, I feel like they benefit from maybe visualizing themselves in like crazy, like an image that 5-10 years from now is absolutely unthinkable for where they're at right now. I've done that, but I'm not sure that that's for me, to be honest. I think, like you said, like for me, staying locked in is a lot more helpful for me as to where it gets me, like where I'm going. I feel like it's overrated. An aspect that's overrated is I don't know shit, but I feel like an aspect that's overrated is like imagining where you're, like having this confidence, this utmost confidence that you are gonna get to a level that nobody else thinks you're gonna get to. I think that's pretty overrated. I think an avenue that more people actually go down, successful people, is just doing, right? Like just like taking the next step, and eventually some way, somehow they end up where they're at, and I think that's how I want to approach where I'm going. You know what I mean?
It's the Footwork quote, have a direction, not an endpoint.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you're working towards becoming the best person and player you can be.
Yeah.
Where you end up along that path, time will tell, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't, maybe a team sees you, right? There's so much luck involved. A team,
Right.
a scout's there, a scout isn't there. This team is actually looking for a player exactly like you and they see you on the day, or the team never sees you.
Right.
And you stay wherever you stay. But either way, you just focus on pushing yourself to become the best person and player, and you'll get to where you're supposed to get.
And to have a set point is so limiting. Like think about it. Like say I want to play in the Champions League one day, right? And 99% of the time, right? Like you're not gonna. 99% of people won't make it. Say I don't make it, right? So I've fallen short of that goal, right? And so now it's like, do I see myself as a failure? The other option is you do make it to the Champions League, and all of a sudden you're there and you're like, shit, now I've made it. Like, what's next? Like all of a sudden it's like you're lost because like you've attained this goal, but like you don't have anything else, Yeah. Yeah, it's like Tyson Fury wanted to be world champion. He achieved that, and then he got lost in depression for 5 years because he didn't know what was next, Yeah. So I don't know.
And when you look at your CV, you see that you've taken chances and other opportunities to travel countries, different leagues, different contracts, college, professional. Does this embody you as a person, and how has it made you a better player? This openness.
Yeah, I would think so. I would hope so. I don't know if I'm like any more like courageous than anybody else. It's like, it's always more of a calculated risk, like when I take these opportunities, it's like, I've worked hard to get to the connections I have with the people like I work with, and then it's kind of like from there weighing up the options, and there's always an element of, like this could fail, this could not work out, but at the other end of things it could, and yeah, at the end of the day, it's like a lot of the opportunities I've taken, it has been a leap of faith, but I've always felt like it was my gut feeling, like I went with my gut, and so even if it might have been the wrong decision, I feel like it worked out it will work out some way somehow, but yeah.
And with taking, calculated risk, let's talk about the art of being told no, because it's
Right.
going to happen. And I know it's happened for you. How many times has it happened for you, and how do you shake that off and move on to the next one?
It's a great question. Like for a long time, it was a lot of yes. Like, and, when you're growing up, and then when the first no hits, it's like it's hard, especially as you squeeze the lime, like as you get higher and higher. That's when the no's become obviously more and more apparent. But how many times I've been said? I've been to Schalke's second team. I've been all over. I've been to a few different countries in Europe. I've been to the U.S. Inside the U.S. USL Championship and League One. I've been told no. Yeah, so it's happened a few times, man. But it's one of those things that I'm not gonna lie. Like it has hit. It does hit hard, very very hard at times, right? Like some of my darkest times have been around those times where I've been told no, where you question everything because, like no matter how in the moment I want to stay in, I do fall short of that, and I imagine myself when I'm on trial at these places. Oh, what it would be like if I sign, here or there, and so to be told no is like obviously very gut wrenching. But at the end of the day, I always come back to just loving the game, and so like it just kind of keeps me going. And I guess I do have a belief in myself, even though I'm very hard on myself, I do still have a belief that, like sometimes at these straws, man, like you just have to hang on to anything, like one good play, and you just hang on to that, and maybe that's like you're disillusional, but hey, like I'm here now, so I don't know. It's I'm not sure I have the best answer on how to deal with no's. I feel like it's still something I struggle with. But I come back to how much I love playing and how much I want to keep going and feel like if I stopped, I would be leaving something at the door, So yeah, it always keeps me coming back.
And staying on this topic of being told no, so a trial's different, right? It's a clear no and you're gone.
Right.
But another thing that you've experienced twice now looking at your career is not playing.
Right.
So you're on a team, but you're not getting minutes.
Yeah.
You were in the second division in Serbia.
Yeah.
Didn't play very many
Yeah.
games. Last year in the championship with Rhode Island, didn't play very many games. That's a different beast. Now it happened to me one season of my career where basically played a few games the first half of the season, second season didn't touch the field once, only played with the second team. And that's probably the season I learned the most.
Right.
Because for me, it was a little different. I knew I wasn't really going to play. He's already checked out on me, and he was just going to go with other guys unless there was a bad injury or suspensions. But it's tough to come to that realization when you feel you're playing up to the level, or maybe you're not playing up to the level.
Right.
And then the question is, what can I do better? Or then you start getting frustrated with yourself, and you start thinking now in the past mistakes. In the future, you get the chance, but then you screw it up.
Yeah.
I think that's much more difficult to deal with because it's a daily thing for, say, a 10-month season.
Oh, yeah.
That, hey, you played how many games for Rhode Island?
5.
5 games for over 10 months, and those are just some minutes.
Right.
I mean, what did you take from that season, and how has that helped you grow as a person and a player?
Yeah, so the circumstances in it was Slovenia, not
Slovenia,
Serbia, but
excuse me.
Slovenia and Rhode Island were a little different. I'm sure we'll get to Slovenia, but Slovenia a lot of it was out of my control in terms of I I was banned by FIFA, which is like a longer story. So I had this excuse, right?
Yeah.
So it was, a lot of it was like, I didn't even think twice about it, right? Rhode Island was a totally different animal, and it was very much similar to you in that I kind of knew when I came in the situation. And it's so difficult because even though you know the situation you're walking into, you always bet on yourself, right? Like I bet on myself that, okay, like, first of all, I have nothing else. Like I have nothing, it's this or no contract, right? So might as well take the contract, right? And then second of all, I have faith that I will like displace the person in front of me. I will show with time, like give me time and I will show what I can do, right? Which initially was happening. So the first few months I was at Rhode Island, we had a not so big squad. People were getting injured. I was getting into the squad, and my whole mindset was I was really in a great place mentally where I was taking each day as it came, and my whole focus was just getting better. You know, so even when I didn't have a great day, I was like, you know what, like, for me, this is a process. It's not like it's not gonna be like I'm gonna walk in and be the best player there. Like I knew I wasn't, right? So even when I didn't have a great day, for me it was okay. What can I take from today and be better tomorrow, right? And when that initially happened, like you know, like it was great because I saw the improvements, right? Like I saw myself, you know, like getting into the squad. Like coming in as a sub, starting to come in as a sub, right? Doing well, then getting my first start, then getting my first goal, right? And then from there, like I played a few more games, and then all of a sudden, you know, we weren't necessarily doing that well, right? Which I thought was going to help me, right? Because you know, a guy on the fringes, like, oh, I might get my opportunity, but you know, as a guy with very little experience, Rhode Island, like the coach there was very focused on getting guys in that had a lot of experience, right? And with the US, it's kind of an interesting thing that we don't have a transfer window here. Like guys can sign up until pretty much September, right? Which has helped you, right? But it didn't help me at the time because our coach just signed a lot of guys, a lot of players, and I want to say like 2 or 3 guys came back fit. And I all of a sudden I was out of the squad again, and I took a big step back. And then after that, I got my performances dipped, right? Like I had a little dip in performances, a little dip in motivation. Was starting to deal with kind of that a bit of a mid-season thing also, where I hadn't dealt with before. Like I hadn't endured a 10-month season. And so my body was also not holding up as well. Like I started having like back issues, and I'm very aware that these are all excuses, right? But it is the reality of what happened. And at the end of the day, like it was just, I think there was a point where I wasn't performing as well as I would have wanted to. But then, you know, like then started that huge, like at that point, like that's when like the season kind of changed, and it almost was like a mental battle the rest of the season, right? Because I was looking at it and I was like, it's going to be very tough for me to get another game here. Like we have a big squad, we have guys fit.
How early was this when all this happened?
I want to say summer, so like
June, July.
A little bit later than this, so I want to say like June. Around June, I kind of realized, okay, like it's going to be very tough for me to get a game. Yeah, I was one of 2 rookies, and I was definitely like treated, it was very much like a rookie year, you know, where I had to learn from others. And, you know, I tried my best to, like I said, stay in the moment. I kept locked in, but it was more of I didn't know how else to go about things. You know, I don't know how else to go about the footy than to be locked in, to do the things I do, right? And looking back, like I feel like now I've learned so much from that year, but I'd be lying to you if I said that in the moment, like when I was going through that year, that I thought I was actually learning. Like I thought, I'm not playing games. The best way for me to learn is to play games, right? But the difference from me as a player now to me before Rhode Island is absolutely massive. And I generally don't think I would be there had I been playing games, to be honest. And yeah, I am, at the end of the day, like I am very grateful, like super grateful for the year I had at Rhode Island, because I learned so much about me as an individual. And in a lot of circumstances, like to me, that like the year Rhode Island was one of the worst case scenarios, like as a player, right? Like injuries is worst case, but second to that is like, dude, playing 5 games in like a 40 game year is pretty like, it's pretty low. It's like not great, you know? So I was like, now, like I don't take any moment on the field for granted. You know what I mean? Like every minute I get, I'm like so grateful for. And on top of that, I feel like I know what guys around me are going through. Guys who are like, you know, on our team who aren't playing as much.
Yes, that's a big one.
And that's huge. Yeah, it gives me a degree of empathy that I feel like guys, without even realizing last year, for example, they might have lacked a little bit. Realizing how hard it is for me to be, you know, to not be playing and to be, you know, consistently a great teammate. I'm rambling here a little bit, but there's so much to...
This is brilliant, keep going.
Yeah, there's just so much to unpack, right? Like you mentioned, for example, like this is a big one, right? Like when you're not playing, so much of what you're thinking turns to what your coach is thinking, way more than when you're playing, right? Like when you're playing consistently on the field, right? Like so much of me last year, there was a point where it's like, shit, like did my coach just see me mess up, right? And I have like, it's this feeling of like, every time you mess up, you feel like it's going to be counted against you, but every time you do something good, it's going to be dismissed, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes that's the case, right? It feels like
for
the
sure.
mistake
For
is
sure.
overblown.
Yes.
And the positives are swept under the rug.
Like if I did a mistake last year, it's like, oh, he's not ready, right? And then if I do something good, it's like, oh, he has potential, but you know, like it's not.
It was a one-off.
Yeah, exactly, right? Whereas like if the guy who's playing does the exact same, it's like the mistake is the one-off, and the good thing is the thing that he does consistently well, which is like it's so mind-bending, because then it like, I was thinking to myself, like, what even is good? What even is you being a good player, right? Like,
it's a game of opinions.
Exactly, it's such a game of opinions. So yeah, it was definitely like, there was so much thinking to myself, like of like, you know, like the circumstances I was in made me think so much about like the game in general, and like how much opinions matter. And yeah, like there were weeks out there, man, where I felt like I was the best player training, right? And still nothing, you know? And there were weeks where I felt like I was one of the worst and still nothing, you know? Like it was really completely a year of, you know, like having to distract myself, like ignore all the noise and just focus on myself, you know? And getting the best out of, like getting everything I could out of that experience.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many positives that I can relate that I've took from that same season. But like you said, you can now understand when a player's not getting a lot of minutes. I know exactly what they're going through.
Yeah.
More or less, right? Every situation's a little different. But I know that if they're still putting in an effort to be a good teammate, number one, it's being positive, not being that, you know, pissy guy in the corner bitching and trying to bring everyone down. They're still bringing good energy. I know that it goes a long way if I say, hey, listen, just keep going, keep being patient, just keep improve on this, you know, you're gonna get your chance. That goes a long way, because I've seen both sides of it. You see the guy that just totally, you lose him.
Oh yeah.
He's gone. And I was the teammate where I was like, you know what, I don't really have time for that, because he's trying to bring the group down.
Right.
And it's a team sport. Now I can understand him more. That's not the right approach that he took, but I can understand why he was thinking that way. And I could have been the teammate that kind of got him out of that hole.
Yeah.
And I think there's always going to be, say in a 23-man roster, there's always going to be guys that don't make the roster.
Right.
And those guys might never make a roster.
Yeah.
Or they might make half the time the roster but still never play. But you need them.
Yeah.
You need them for training.
Right.
And you need them to be there in case there's 4 injuries in a row and they have to step up. I need them to perform to get us 3 points.
Right.
And you have to think bigger than, I don't care about this guy, he doesn't play anymore.
Yeah.
That's such a terrible mentality, because it's a team sport, and that's a culture that's created in the club. Right. And I think you've gone through this early, I guess Slovenia, it doesn't really count, but this Rhode Island experience, that's going to help you throughout your career.
Right.
Because if you keep pushing, my idea was if I keep pushing myself high enough, if I'm comfortable, right? If I feel, okay, at this level, I feel pretty confident that I'm one of the best players in the field, whatever level that may be in my career.
Right.
I need to get out of here. This is too easy. Because I want to put myself in a situation where I'm potentially the worst player on the team,
Right.
because I know in that situation, I'm gonna improve really quickly.
Right.
If you put me on Man City, I'm gonna be the worst player there. But I know in 6 months, I'm gonna be way better than I am right now.
Right.
And that's the situation, that's what I've always driven for.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if I'm good enough for this level, it's Oberliga, okay, I need to jump to Regionalliga.
Right.
Okay, in Regionalliga, I'm on this team, I need to jump to a higher team in the table. When I get there, okay, now is this my limit? Maybe, I don't know.
Right.
But if it isn't, I need to push even farther.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what's driven me, because it was always a situation where I was always playing.
Right.
But then you take a step back, wait, hold on. I thought that I'm good enough for this level, but now I'm
Right.
not playing on this team.
Right.
Is it just the coach's opinion? Or am I really just not playing at the level and I've now reached my ceiling?
Right.
My idea at the time was, no, I haven't. This is just an opinion thing.
Right.
Because it was a different where I was always playing and then all of a sudden I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
And there's many factors that go into it, but I knew, okay, this is the situation. This is not me. This is not, I don't like the game anymore. This is just this current situation. Sometimes you just got to get out of that. And then I wound up getting out of that, went down to Oberliga, which is other circumstances, but then wound up scoring a ton as a midfielder.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, no, we're good. I came to Germany 7 years ago, and this was the highest level I played at. Now I'm here playing as an 8, scoring basically a goal every other game.
Yeah.
No. I'm still good enough. This is not my ceiling. This is too low for me. It was just the situation wasn't great, and I need to get out of that.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Well said. Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, you push yourself as high as you can to get to a level, right? Like, say you were on Man City, right? And yeah, like for 6 months you'd be the worst player on the field, right? But then you come back down a level, and all of a sudden the level you come back down to, right? Like, you're gonna be so much better than you were before, right? And that might be like, so I signed to Rhode Island from college, right? I went from Providence College to Rhode Island, which was, nowadays I think people who are outside of kind of soccer don't know as much, like they don't know, the differences between college and professional are stark in terms of, like, at least USL Championship and MLS. Like, it's very hard for a college player to get to MLS, and then guys who go from college directly to USL Championship, most of them struggle, right? Like, and aren't seeing game time. Like, USL Championship is very much a league that's very established in trying to get seasoned professionals in, right? And so I felt like I had kind of jumped 2 levels, right? Like, I had jumped the USL League One and MLS Next Pro, kind of like jumped that level and going to USL Championship. And I felt that, I really felt that at the time, like I had to, one, push myself as high level as I could to see whether I had it or not, and then kind of reassess, because it is my first year in, like, the professional ranks of US soccer, so I might as well push as high as I can, and if not, I can always fall down a level. Whereas if I'm going straight to USL League One, for example, and I don't perform, then all of a sudden it's like I have no place to fall back down to, right? But I feel like it's, in a way, the scenario, like, in a way, like the scenarios kind of played itself out. Like I not imagined it would, but it could have planned out, where, okay, like USL Championship, it was indeed a hard year where I didn't get as much playing time as I wanted to. But now look, like I can get myself a League One side and can actually get game time and play, Whereas, like, if I jumped into a League One, like I said, jumped into a League One side last year as a rookie and having very little CV, like, who knows if I would have even gotten the game, if I would have gotten comparable game time to what I'm getting today, So, yeah, there's so many ways you can think of, like, how you can take your career, and how to best approach, like, your kind of opportunities in front of you. But yeah, that's why, like, I think I also end up focusing on the process and being locked in is because like that at least I know I can control.
It's the only thing you can control.
Literally,
Exactly.
right?
It's the
Like,
only thing you can control.
I don't even know, like I can't even control if I'm gonna be shit or not on the field, or if I'm gonna be good or not. I can just control like literally what I have, like if I can run, if I can work hard for the team, right? Like just the absolute basics, you know? Yeah, it's just, it's
Yeah,
such
I mean, you make your own path, right? It's all about preparation. It's the
Exactly.
only thing really that you can control.
yeah,
And putting yourself in the best position to do your best come game day, because that's really what matters, right?
yeah.
That's how you're judged, essentially,
Yeah.
in this sport, is what you do in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
game. And preparing is really the only thing
Yeah.
that you can control.
It's just a way to deal with the anxiety, not even the anxiety, but you know what I mean, like the nervousness, the overwhelming thing that the game is.
You know you've done everything you can to get yourself to this point,
Right.
and now for the next 90 minutes, I'm going to do what I can, as best as I can.
Exactly.
And speaking of making your own path, in terms of you have everyone has their own unique way that they somehow get from A to Z. 2020, you went to Germany,
Right.
and you played in the Oberliga, which is the 5th league there.
Yeah.
How did you find the level at the time, and what did you take from that experience?
Yeah. So I'm gonna give a bit of backstory because I was in college, because it is very, very particular, like very unusual. I was playing at a Division I school called William and Mary, in the CAA, and kind of like a mid-table. I would call it like a mid-table Division I, right? And 2019, the spring of 2019, no, the spring of 2020. Sorry, COVID hit, right? And I was a freshman. I just finished my freshman year. And so I spent 2-3 months just training. The season got canceled, the spring season got canceled, but I was still hoping for that fall season, right? Like the one that actually matters. And then we start to hear rumors that the season's gonna get canceled, like the season might get canceled. And at this time, I'm starting to think, okay, like what can I do? Because I don't want to like just do this all the time. I don't want to just train. I want to play games. I'm starting to really miss the sport. And so I meet this guy, this ex-trainer of mine, this ex-coach of mine, has now become basically a scout in Germany. And he, at the time, he had just become a scout, starting for a company, working for a company. And the whole reason why they had hired him, long story short, I'm oversimplifying it, is because it was to get basically scout American players to come over to the US. Now, this is a terrible thing to do in 2020, right? When they don't have a European passport. So basically nobody could get over. But there was me. I did have a German passport. I have a French and German passport. So, we knew each other well, kept training, and then I heard the season was canceled with college. I spoke to my coach there, told him, look, like I have these opportunities in Germany to go out and trial. I had no idea where, how. I heard games and I was sold, right? And then went over to Germany. I actually started off with the Meerbusch second team. And that was kind of just to see where I'm at in level. There was, as an American coming over, even though I have my European roots, I was very much seen as an American. There was a lot of skepticism, right? So it's like starting at the lowest level possible, so that if he's really bad, we can handle it, right? And so started at Meerbusch second team, which actually was like Landesliga, which is 6th tier. And I was playing a couple preseason friendlies, was doing very, very well. The owner came to watch me at a game and quickly pushed me up to, he was like, okay, we have to get this guy on the first team. And the first team was Oberliga. And this was kind of like the Oberliga was kind of like the goal. Regionalliga could have been, but for me it was like I wanted to play at a level where I wasn't gonna forfeit my college eligibility because I was still a freshman, right? I still wanted to get my degree, so I was like, this is phenomenal, right? And it was just such a unbelievable experience because it's my first time playing men's football, and it's like as as an 18-year-old, it was like just so different, right? Like I saw guys with kids in the locker room, which was like unreal to me. But yeah, and I was like so surprised by the level, to be honest, so surprised. Like it was a very good level. Like I definitely thought I was doing well, and I was definitely holding my own and playing well. I was getting a lot of games and stuff, but it was like I was just so surprised that there was that many talented players in the 5th tier of German soccer. It's just like unthinkable.
Yeah.
And it was definitely like I remember one time at training, I was I was a left back and left winger at that point, and or anywhere on the wing, but don't put me in the middle of the field. And I got put in center of midfield, and I just got like absolutely schooled by this like 34-year-old German. I just couldn't touch him. I couldn't get near him. I was like, okay, next play I'm gonna like kill him, right? And he would just one touch flick it around the corner, he'd be gone by the time I'd get there, you know? Like just like I took so many things from like, especially in terms of like the IQ of players, right? Like I think a big difference of the Oberliga is like maybe the fitness, the athleticism is not quite there, which is what made me like kind of do well in that league. But the IQ is, you know, it's a lot of guys who have come down from higher levels, you know? So yeah, I mean, it was such an interesting experience. I only ended up playing 10 games before that season got canceled completely.
Yeah. In October, I think it was October 2020.
October of 2020. Yeah. And I was like, I was honestly devastated. I wanted to make it till at least winter.
Right.
But it was so cool, man. To me, it was also the first time I was like earning money. So I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to say.
Whatever, it's gone. Yeah, it's in the past.
First time. I don't care now.
NCAA
first time I'm earning money. Like they provided housing for me. I just think I thought everything was so cool, because coming back, full circle moment, like coming back, like I was like, as a 14, 15-year-old, I found out, oh shit, like there's an avenue to play. Like you can make money playing soccer in like the 5th, 6th tier of Germany.
You just have to go find the opportunity.
Exactly. And I did exactly what I thought of when I was like 14, 15, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So did that kind of spark your idea of like, oh no, I'm going to play professional when college is done. I'm going to get my degree and I'm going to pursue this because there is an opportunity out there.
Oh yeah.
And clearly I'm good enough.
Yes. Yeah. It was like, it was the realization that there is always an avenue. There is somewhere I can play. It's just, am I willing to make the sacrifice to go there? And in my head, I was like, yes. Like, if I had been told to go to Mongolia, I would have done the same thing, you know? I don't know if I would have stayed, but I would have definitely gone, you know? Like, I would have taken anything, right? And so, it honestly, like, it helped me so much in my college career, because the first 2 years of my college career were, like, average. Like, or maybe, like, I was playing, right? But I wasn't, like, killing it, right? Which I'm grateful that I was at least playing and starting a lot, but I wasn't exactly like, you know, like killing it. But after that Mirbush experience, like I felt like almost like pressure, like a huge lift off my shoulders, because it was like, you know, like even if it doesn't pan out well, like say I don't play as much as I want to, I'm gonna find a way somewhere in freaking Angola to go play, you know, like I'm gonna find somewhere to play, you know. So I kind of like played with a lot less pressure on myself than somebody who's like, oh, I have to get drafted, you know? So yeah, it definitely helped me, like have like this quiet confidence.
Right, you already experienced, oh, you can go make money in the Oberliga.
Yes.
And you have a European passport.
Yeah.
So you've now unlocked every European country.
Yeah.
And you know that the professional football exists out there. You just have to go find it. And exactly like Mongolia. In a situation when I was young and I heard about that, I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Would I do it now? Probably not. I wouldn't go to Mongolia again.
Right.
Because I've already been there. But now my boxes are a little bit different.
Right.
When I was young, I literally would have went to anywhere.
Yes.
And no one even thinks of Mongolia, but when it came up, I was like, for sure, someone's going to pay me to go play professional. Like, this is what I dreamed of, right? And you have little instances that kind of, I guess, like refuel the motivation.
Right.
You know, it's like you have an idea, oh, I want to play professional.
Yeah.
But what does that even mean?
Yeah.
And then when it happens, it's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And then you realize, okay, this is the level. Maybe I need to push myself farther.
Yeah.
This is a good start. but now what's next?
Right.
And it's like, okay, go to the next opportunity. Okay, how do I dominate this? And then move up to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. Like when I look back on my thinking, like especially as a high schooler, I think I did the opposite of what a lot of people did, and I think like I undersold myself. Like I went to, like looking back on it, I think I could have gone to a better school than I did for soccer. I think I could have, like having in my head, having the idea, right? Like I was like, if I just get to USL, like I'm gonna be satisfied. Like that was kind of like what was going through my head, like I just want to play and earn money, right? Like that was my only goal. So like I never thought, like, for example, if I played like 6th tier Germany, 5th tier Germany, right? Like that was never like, I always wanted to push for more, right? But I was like, like if I play there and that's it, then I'll be happy, And in turn, like I was like thinking, if I get to a level like USL where we can debate whether or not it's better or worse than like, your 4th or 5th tiers, but it is recognized as a fully professional league, right? And like to me, like I was like, okay, like I'm satisfied with that, which like now looking back at it, like I don't know, like I put in so many hours, like it's kind of like, I could have dreamed a little more,
Yeah, but I think it comes back to the same thing. Like you just focus on the process, but
right. But at that time I wasn't, like I wasn't as
so
much.
When did that change? So when did you? Because we all do it, right? So I want to get to the Premier League, I want to get to Champions League, I want to get to the MLS. But then you slowly realize, wait, that's kind of the wrong way to think. It should be focused on. I thankfully had this pretty early on, where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to try to be the best player I can be.
Right.
Then you graduate, okay, the best person I can be as well, because soccer's not everything. The level, I'll get to where I'm supposed to be over time. You just have to keep grinding away.
Yeah.
When did that really change for you?
I think like the game humbles you. Like, like the game will hit you in the face, like my freshman year of college, I just come in, and like I said, in high school I was the guy, right? Like I was like always on the ball, always playing, always scoring, whatever. And I get to college, the first preseason game, all the freshmen played. All the freshmen played. I actually did play, but I played the least minutes out of everyone. And to people that might not seem like a low, but to me that was such, like, I'm telling you, Sean, like that was a bigger low than like all of Rodan last year. Like I'd never been hit with a low before, right? Yeah. So like that first low was like the lowest of the lows. It's like the first heartbreak, right? It's like, oh shit. Like I literally did not sleep for 2 days, right? And it's like, after that, like, it's kind of like, I was so humbled that it's like you start from no expectations again, right? Which is in many ways, it's a great place to be at, because like you literally, like, a bad day doesn't affect you because you're almost expecting a bad day, and a good day is like you cling on to that so much, So like any good days I was clinging on to, and it was like, okay, like let me like readjust from being like, okay, let me be the best player here, to like, let me just get a little bit better today, right? And from there it's like, okay, let me just be like the best player I can be, and try and be that in each and every moment. And obviously I'm going to fall short of that, but like, like I feel like that's a way more attainable goal than being the best player on the field, which there's so many things I can't control, right? So yeah, I just think, and it's funny, every time I get away from that, I get, the game brings you back, to that kind of thing, and I'm sure it will this year again. Like there'll be times where hopefully we get like a few big wins, and the game will bring us right back down. I mean, it did, we won 4-0 in our opening game, like unreal experience, right?
Scored an incredible free kick.
Exactly. And then now we're on a 3-game losing streak, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the game, right?
That's the beauty of the game, exactly. And the highs and lows of the season. It's still early on, but exactly. It's if you're not up to it, exactly. You start off strong. Preseason, we didn't lose a game.
Right.
And now we're 3 games in a row, haven't gotten a win.
Yeah.
And you start to reassess things.
Right, exactly.
Like we're not as good as we think we are, which is a good thing to learn, I think, at this point. And it's a long season. We have a young team. And I think it's great to learn these lessons early on, that like this is every 90 minutes is a new 90 minutes that you need to play at your best to get 3 points. We're not going to walk over any team. In a cup game, in a league game, that's not going to happen. This is professional soccer. This isn't college anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great lesson that we are currently still learning, but I think it's great to just learn and grow as a team from it.
Right.
And speaking of the team, speaking of the now Portland Hearts of Pine, how does it feel to be part of a club with such a great purpose?
Oh, it's great, man. Like, so, like USL One, there's a lot of teams where you can play for, and like I think you're not quite getting the most out of the experience of playing professional soccer, right? And luckily enough, like here, like you are 100% getting that, you know, like a club that has this much support. And I think the reason why it has this much support is because of how it's built on the values that our owner, Gabe, has instilled in the club, which I think are really good, right? Like a kind of a blue collar mentality, hardworking. And I think it does reflect in how Bobby has set us up. Now, hopefully it will, like, obviously our results will turn, but man, like I think a lot of like performance is related to how comfortable you feel, right, on the field. And I feel very comfortable on the field, not even necessarily because of the guys around me, but because of the values that our coach holds. I know I have, you know what I mean? Like I know that I want to get the most out of each moment. I know I want to be in people's faces. I want to tackle hard. I want to work as hard as I can. I want to run as much as I can, you know, like those types of things. And also having fans that appreciate that is massive, you know? So there's a level of comfort there that I feel that, like, you know, maybe at other places I didn't quite feel, you know?
Yeah. And we've spoken about how you kind of set yourself up for goals and how you are working towards something. But this year, what are some goals that you have set out for yourself as an individual and as a team?
Jake said this, and on the last podcast, and I really like this. It's the veteran in him I'm listening to, but being available for every single game, right? Like that's
best ability is availability.
Exactly. That's something I can directly control. And yeah, like there are like external goals like that I definitely want to achieve, right? Like I would want to achieve the playoffs. I would want to go on a playoff run and win something, even win as many games as I can, and personally, like you know, like do very well. But I'd be lying if that's an actual goal that I'm focusing on, you know? Like that's not, if I focus on those goals, I feel like I'd get lost in them and
correct.
And, you know, not achieve them, right? Like I think the ones I can actually achieve where, right, like being fit for every game and being able to get selected is much more attainable. And also, I kind of have this, kind of try and remind myself daily, right? Like this session, this is the only session that matters, right? Like this training session, whether it's our Monday, like our Tuesday hard training session or our Thursday, you know, like almost like recovery type training session, like this is the only training session that matters, right? Like, and being as present as possible in that session and just being focused on that session is something I'm actively trying to, like, you know, that's a goal of mine, right? Like that's an active goal. I want to be right there, I want to be right there for every training session, like in my head, mentally, in the right space. I'm sure I'm going to fall short of that, but I think it's something that I can at least try and do. And if I fall short, at least I will have tried. And you know, if I get to 95% of training sessions, that's probably good enough, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of staying present, and it's like a
it always comes back to that.
It's a micro goal. It's like I can attain this every day, and I have 100% control of this.
Yeah.
And then over the course of the season, those can build up. And like you said, just being available, saying that's exactly my goal, is just be available for every game, take care of my body to the best of my ability, because I have 100% control of that.
Yeah.
And make sure that I am available to be selected. Then the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Because if you start focusing on it, there's so many other external possibilities.
Right.
Right? There's so many other external possibilities that if you think too much about it, it'll take you out of your game.
Yeah, yeah. Take care of the present. Yeah.
Exactly, take care of the present. We got to ask too, the Nathan Messer spin move. This is your signature. How
Yes.
did you develop this, and when did you develop this?
It's funny, like I would get caught a lot, like in my early years as a left back, because I definitely transitioned to left back, like I was a winger. And so what I would do is I would drag, like I would drag the ball inside, right? Because I wouldn't see an option down the line or like a clip ball, whatever. Or I just didn't want to play a clip ball, to be honest. And I would cut inside and start dribbling inside. And in college, it worked. It honestly worked really well when I was a wing back. But as I started getting to the kind of the professional level, I kind of realized like sometimes it is a trap. To, like, you know, they want me to go inside to find where the numbers are, like the you know, where the extra midfielder can come in. And I started getting caught I would get caught a few times. And so I started like, it kind of just was like, you know, like it kind of just happened where one time I guess I spin back outside and I like completely sold the guy and it's like, oh shit, like, okay, I made a mental note of it. And yeah, it's kind of just continued a little bit. And I think it's really taken a form of its own this year, to be honest.
Absolutely has. We'll overlay some highlights of it here, but it works almost every time. And if it doesn't work, so like it works there, it works to get a cross off. Then they bite the cross your left foot, you just cut back on your right with a Cruyff turn. And I think it also goes to show is like, that's something that can be practiced.
Yes.
It's simple.
Yeah.
It's not this fancy step over, rainbow flick over someone.
Yeah.
It's just a body feint, basically.
Yeah.
And you're spinning with the ball.
And all it needs to buy me is a yard. That's all,
Yes, that's it.
Even half a yard.
Exactly.
That's all I need to then pick up my head and feel like I can breathe and actually pick out a pass or a cross.
Right.
You know?
Which is, I think, another lesson too for players, that you don't need to beat someone by a huge distance.
Yeah.
You just need enough space to then put the cross in, or enough space to then play the ball. It's basically a way to get out of pressure.
Right.
But like you said, now that you're on the other side of the trap, you're trapping the winger to think you're going to go inside.
Yeah.
When you know you want to go line the whole time.
Right.
But in order to get to the line, you need to trap him to go in the middle, and you spin out.
Right, exactly.
Which is it's just beautiful. It's poetry in motion.
Yeah, I guess.
And reflecting on the journey, what has helped Nate to get to this moment, and why is he still going?
It's a good question. There's obviously like, whenever you like, I talk about like where I've gotten to and everything. There's so many factors, you know. Obviously the outside help I've gotten is massive, but it comes back to, I think, honestly, just a love of the game that I think I have more than a lot of people that are playing. Because at the end of the day, like, all this stuff I do where I'm a very dedicated person, I can say that, like, you know, like I work extremely hard, which is all very true, right? And it's all gotten me to this moment. But like, thinking deeper about that, you know, it's like, I'm only able to do that because I truly love this game, and I truly love, like, I truly love getting better, right? And it's made me fall in love with that process of being dedicated, being hardworking, because I love the outcome that it has on the field for me, right? And so I think, like, to get to where I've been, like, I wouldn't have gotten here without this deep love for the game. And that's obviously talking about me as a footballer right now, you know, like me as a person. Yeah, I think, honestly, like, a lot of the lessons I've learned on the field, that I've been able to apply off the field have led me to be where I am today, you know? Like the hard work, the dedication, the mentality aspects, which is so underrated but so huge, you know? Yeah, so, yeah. I think I've talked enough about, like, the being present, being all that, but I can't understate it enough, you know?
Yeah. No, totally. It's huge, and clearly that's what's given you the platform to be successful.
Right.
Let's get into our fast feet questions. A little
Yes, sir.
footwork here. Favorite player growing up?
Gareth Bale or Clint Dempsey. Gareth Bale, because he was left-footed, and at the time he was at Spurs, and just like embodied everything I wanted to be as a footballer. And then Clint Dempsey, because I was a massive Fulham. I am a massive Fulham fan, but he's the epitome of just leaving it all out on the field. And as a fan, like as a 10-year-old, like I didn't realize this, but that's all I wanted to see. Like I didn't even want to see quality. I just wanted to see a guy who would just leave it absolutely everything on the field, which I saw in Dempsey.
Yeah. Favorite moment in football?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm wondering if I should go down the path of fan or player here.
Make your own path.
I'm gonna say the Fulham 2-1 win over Hamburg to get to the Europa League final.
Wow, what year was that?
I was 10. So like it's an early memory, but like at 10, well it's not an early memory, but when I'm 10 is the peak of my fandom, right? Like 10 to 14, it's like I'm crying if we're losing a game, like a Fulham game. I'm crying tears of joy if we're winning, right? Because I don't see the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like, yeah, like I'm disappointed about a result, but like it doesn't affect my day, right? Like back then, like the emotions I would get with those is like bigger than I'm now than I get now as a player.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Most difficult moment in football?
Most difficult moment in football. Not getting a contract. There's a few. I would say my lowest point was about February, March last year, where for a while I thought I wasn't gonna get a lot of things didn't pan out the way I wanted to, and I thought I wasn't gonna get a contract.
Best advice you ever received?
Best advice I've ever received. It was, I want to say my high school coach, my club coach from high school, British guy, very, very knowledgeable about the game. And he was like, he told me about the half a yard. All you need is half a yard. Like, he saw something in me with kind of my range and my left foot that he was like, don't focus on dribbling past the player. Focus on just getting enough space to get a cross in. So, and I've always carried that with me, I guess. And it's kind of like, like a lot of advice you get might be good, but it doesn't stick with you. Like you don't remember the moment someone told you something. I remember the exact moment that he told me that and the impression that it made on me.
Yeah. Best player you played with and against?
Best player I've played with. It's a great question. With might be. What's with, like pickup or like?
I would say on a team.
On a team,
in a
okay.
team setting.
On a team, okay. On a team. Trying to think here. Might have been last year, huh? I played with a lot of good players last year. Maybe here we got like Zach Haribo, center mid, absolutely phenomenal player. Played for Haiti's national team. It's a very, very all-rounded, just plays the game the right way. But I'm sure I'm missing someone in Germany. I mean, on trial, I was playing with Sané's brother, the younger brother. He was a phenomenal player.
At Schalke?
Yep. And I want to give a shout out to this guy because even though like I've never played on a team with him, I played pickup with him, and he is like insane. Kevin Paredes on Wolfsburg now, very very good player. And against Oh. See, now against, I actually have played against some really good players. I played against Gio Reyna growing up. He killed us. But there's someone on that team that was doing even better. I'm forgetting. Maybe not even somebody I played in that's going to come back to him. But Gio Reyna was very, very good.
That's a big name.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Gio Reyna is a good one.
If you weren't a footballer, what would you be?
Well, first I'd be a semi-pro footballer.
There you go.
I'd be just calling myself a
Sunday
pro.
league.
Yeah, calling myself a pro even though I'm not a pro. I'm earning like $200 a month. But no, I would be a nutritionist for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
Any quote or mantra that you live by?
Walk by faith, not by sight.
Walk by faith, not by sight.
It's a phenomenal quote.
That could be the title for this.
Yeah.
Nathan Messer, thank you for coming on. I just dapped up myself. It's been a pleasure. It was a nice conversation. We are grounding. Now you can see we are barefoot.
Yep.
Show the camera your feet. Yes, it's been a pleasure. We'll have to do part 2 at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Kind of sum up how everything's gone.
Checking in.
And until then, keep moving forward, keep learning, and make your own path.
Make your own path.